Welcome back, everyone. There have been a lot of headlines regarding sexual assault and survivors, how they're affected. Here to talk a little bit about the news and how we can help is Dr. Christopher Johnson, the Executive Director with the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you.
I don't want to talk politics necessarily, but there's been a lot of headlines, a lot of talk about sexual assault survivors. Good or bad, do you think that this conversation is out there?
Yeah, I think that anytime we devote time to talking about these issues, I think it's a good thing. I mean, as part of people living in the society, we should be giving these issues attention. I think that one of the number one concerns that I've heard people have is false accusations and the rate of false accusations. And what we know is that false accusations pale in comparison to undocumented accounts. And so if we look at it statistically, we know what's happening in society. We know that women, men, children, elders, adolescents are being assaulted on a regular basis or abused as children. And so it's on all of us to make sure that we keep each other safe.
We don't want this to be something that people are ashamed of or don't want to talk about, or that it's controversial, because it's not controversial. Can you expand on the fact that this is still happening? And that's upsetting.
Sure, yeah. So every year at the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center, we serve 4 counties, in 2 in North Dakota, 2 in Minnesota, and we'll see just under 3,000 people a year, which includes 500 children. And when we look at our adult statistics, about 40% of adults see us on account of a sexual assault. About 60% of children come to our services for sexual assault or abuse. And so it's every day. Every day we see this across populations, across genders, across ages. It's something that impacts everyone in our society. So I think it's important just to remember that it's our responsibility to make sure that this isn't happening to each other.
What if someone's watching at home right now and they're a survivor, but they haven't said anything or they don't know what to do?
Yeah, I completely understand that point, and I think that's really important because you know, there's not a lot of incentive for someone to come forward if they've been an assault victim. There's a lot of shame, there's a lot of embarrassment. People are scared of being torn apart if they come in, or if it has to go formal into the system and criminal justice system. And I think what's important to remember at Rape and Abuse is that you can come in for services and you get to determine what direction the service goes. So it doesn't have to go to court, we don't have to get law enforcement involved, your family doesn't have to know. Someone is really in control of their own destiny when they reach out to us for services.
Now, I talked to you in the break and I was like, you know, we are just pro-woman and I'd like to protect all women, but just words and just being sad isn't necessarily enough. What can people do if they want to get involved and they want to help?
Yeah, I think that, you know, you can get involved with the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center, there's no question. We're looking for volunteers, we look for in-kind donations, we look for cash donations to support the services. But I think also just speaking up when we see people put in positions where we wouldn't want ourselves or our wives or our sisters or our daughters in, and just really being an advocate for the safety of all people. It's really the responsibility is on us. It's not the victim's responsibility not to get assaulted, it's the perpetrator's responsibility not to assault people.
I like that. Strong, simple, and honest. Leading into your big weekend here, the Harvest Moon Fling. This is an important fundraiser for the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center.
Yeah, it is. So this is our 34th annual. Our hosts this year are Eric and Sarah Jurdevig and Dr. Rishi and Nira Seth. They've done an amazing job in getting us set up. We'll have music provided by, sponsored by Bremer Bank, and it's Fusion. And come on out, it's this Friday. We raise a lot of money for the services of rape and abuse, and it's a great night.
Thank you so much for coming in today. I appreciate having this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, coming up on North Dakota Today, Fargo North student is making it big in the Big Apple, but continues to give back to the community.